Hey there, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Monster Super League. It's your boy Odin, and today I'm bringing you guys another natural 5-star review. And we're going to be going over the brand new Astromon Gilgamesh. He's definitely somebody who I definitely need, particularly for the Water Titan, but we're going to go ahead and start with the Fire one here. So the Fire one is an attacker type, and that's Heroic King Gilgamesh. What a name change there. But he is pretty decent. If you look at his skills, he's kind of like comparable to Shiva, but he is a little bit new. He definitely has some new skills, and we're going to talk about them here in a minute. So he starts out with 29,000 HP, 3,900 attack. So that right there is a really, really good attack, especially since he's already an attacker type. Defense is 2635. It's a little bit on the lower end of scale for Nat 5s. The recovery doesn't really matter too much for him, although he does have a pretty decent recovery for what you guys are going to take into account here for his 5-star skill, HP Siphon. So his 3-star skill is grants a 100% chance to stun the enemy for 1 turn. So he's essentially almost like the Fire Shiva or the Fire Arthur. So pretty good 3-star skill, I guess, for Arena, CBC, and of course Story Mode, places like Tower of Chaos where you're going to get your free Astro Gems every month. And then the 5-star skill is HP Siphon. Attacks greatly restore allies' HP in proportion to the amount of damage dealt. So this here is a little bit new. The amount of damage that he's going to deal with that almost 4,000 attack stat is going to be really good, especially on a Ruin set. And of course, with HP Siphon, you can basically dish out as much damage as you can on the 5-star skill, and it's going to increase the healing that you're going to receive for your allies tremendously. So he's actually a really good monster. If you manage to pull a variant one of him, he does come in with a brand new leader skill. It decreases enemies' defense by 35 to 40%. There are other stipulants to this. I believe it also reduces attack and defense as well. So it's not just the defense. I really don't know what's the deal with that. If it really just means increases any enemy's defense by 35 to 40%, or if it also increases the critical hit rate or the critical hit chance, I believe. So I'll look into that and probably post an update for it, at least on Discord for the guys that are on there. But all in all, just know that his fire type is actually really, really good, especially for CBC or places like Arena, and again, Tower of Chaos, especially with the guaranteed stun on the 3-star skill. Will I be seeing him used somewhere else? Not entirely sure. Does he have books? Yes. I'm not entirely sure if that book skill increases that stun to 2 turns. If it is, then you could potentially be looking at another really good defensive unit. Not just because he's an attacker type, but also because he'll be able to do a stun if he survives. And then also, if you pair him up with maybe like a Water Shiva, Water Purse, or hell, even somebody like the Fire Victoria, you got yourself a pretty intense team. I would say that him with a Fire Arthur, a Fire Vic, and like maybe a Light Yuki could do some serious defense, especially with the stuns and whatnot. So definitely some fun new compositions. Definitely a new player in the arenas and in the challenger arenas. Definitely somebody you should probably watch out for, especially with that really high attack. The HP again is just kind of like subpar, I want to say, but it's pretty close to a balanced type's HP, so not too bad. And that's it for the fire one. Will I tell you guys to build them a specific way? Yes, definitely go Ruin. If you can't do Ruin, definitely do at least either the life set or the intuition set, because that high attack stat, the more damage he's going to deal, the more he's going to heal your team, basically. So definitely a good monster to build, especially on a Ruin set. And that's it for the fire one. The water one here. He is just definitely an all-around very interesting mon. He is a pure Titans mon, and he is definitely a really, really good addition to the Water Titans teams because of this stupid little weekend here. So it's a 70% chance to weekend for 2 turns, but we needed it for Titans. There's no other monster besides the Water Draka and the Water Bast. And optimally, he is now fitting on one of the best teams for the Fire Titan, especially with the 5-star skill being Courageous Strike. So he comes in with, well, he's a balanced type, so you can build him pretty much any way you want, more defensively, more higher HP, more attack. But you're going to want to put him on a ruin set, definitely with like attack crit rate. Especially if you have a HP leader skill like the Draka or something like that, he would probably work really well with a Hades or an attack leader skill next to a Balrona. Definitely a really good combination for those two. I would say that him with an Indra as well would be pretty comparable, because then either the Indra gets the SP or the Gilgamesh gets the SP. Either one, they can alternate attack down and weaken, especially on the back lane. So really good. His HP is 31,100. His attack is 3,000. The defense is 28,200 or 22,820. So it's pretty close to the 3,000 that you need for Titans. I generally tell people to if you're gonna do bring in a monster into Titans, make sure that it has at least 3,000 defense. If you don't, you're gonna get crit and you're gonna probably die. The recovery is minuscule. It doesn't really matter for him, especially since it's going to be in the back lane. But all in all, just know that weaken here, I believe it's at 40% attack down and 40% defense down. But the way that the math works is if you pair weaken along with, let's say, the defense down, it only brings the total defense down to about like 82% or something like that. It's like 82.5 or 83%, something like that. So it will never be you can't just say, oh yeah, 40% weekend. If I do defense down, that would bring me, to 100% chance for, total defense down a Titan. But no, that's not true. It's only 80%. So pair up the weekend with the defense down and attack down. You're going to be looking at around 80% damage reduction from the Titans. So again, 5-star skill is Courageous Strike. Definitely want to put him on a ruin. My best team composition for him probably be like a Water Draka lead. If you don't have a variant Balrona, probably going to say the Balrona. The most efficient way is probably going to be a Balrona leader with him next to a Hades. So you'd have your defense down and your weekend, and then on your left hand side on your first lane, you probably have like an Indra lead with like a Siegfried, a water Siegfried with like exposed weakness with like the water bast if you have the water bast. If you don't have the water bast, you can always use Cautines. But that's essentially who you want to have. He's definitely going to work out better in the back lane, alternating for damage, but you can definitely use him in the front lane as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to pulling at least one of these guys. And he is not a Heroes Fest exclusive unit, so you're able to pick him with the Nat 5 card selector. I'm sure many of you guys probably are going to do that already. But definitely probably the best out of the bunch, aside from the light one, I think, or the dark one. But we're going to go ahead and talk about those right after this guy here. So moving on to the wood one. The wood one is currently in the heroes dungeon, and I'm glad that they put him in there. At least somebody knew. Of course, they wouldn't put the water one in there, but what can you do? But it is guaranteed now, so you do get a soulstone guaranteed for doing the heroes dungeon. And I'll go ahead and do the heroes dungeon after I review the mods here for you guys, just so you guys see that it is possible to get the soulstone. So the heroic King Gilgamesh is an attacker type. The wood one is. It is 28,300 HP. 3,800 attack, so really good attack. Defense is 2,800, so he's actually really riding pretty well as an attacker type with some pretty decent defense. The recovery is it doesn't really matter. But all in all, he's definitely looking like a really, really good wood attacker. And I was just saying how badly we need some wood attackers, especially with everybody's teams being on defense. His 3-star skill is Predator, increases damage dealt by 50%. So I am really glad they didn't put in a stupid 40%. 50% is really good, especially with that attack. And especially with that leader skill there, you could be doing some serious damage if you put a variant wood one. Definitely, I'd say out of all of them, if you can find any variant, it's probably going to go to the dark one or the wood one here. So variant people out there, if you have a Holy Gleam that's like a variant or something, if you bought it, this guy is probably one of the mods that you want to invest in, particularly because there's so many people playing defensive with water Yukis or not water Yukis, water Wild Fangs. You got your water Purse, your water Shiva. It's just a lot of ridiculous, overpowered water teams out there right now. So definitely needed to see one of him at least being pulled out for the arena and the challengers arena. So definitely happy. His 5-star skill is Persevere, increases attacks as each turn passes, stacks up to 8 turns. I forget what the actual percentage max that you can get, but I believe it's like an extra 50%. Well, it scales, but it goes up to like 170% extra attack, something like that. So you start out at 100 and it's like increases by 20, I believe, 20% attack every turn. So definitely a good skill to have, but I'm not gonna be seeing a lot of people using that 5-star skill. So I kind of wish that it was something different, like maybe like a defense down, or hell, even like a thirst, or I would say that even the new zap probably would do okay. If not the zap, then at least I forget the name of the skill that reduces the healing done, but that probably would have been better than Persevere. But he is an attacker type. But you're going to mainly be using him on his 3-star skill anyways. But Persevere is pretty nice if you get one, especially if he is a variant. Again, definitely a really, really good leader for the Challengers Arena as well as regular arena. And his variant is actually really nice too. So definitely shoot for the variant one. Where would I else would I use him? Definitely in story, definitely in Tower of Chaos. He could be a really good nuker. Colossus, not so much, unfortunately. Unless you're using him in the light and the dark one. Maybe the fire one, but you'd have to jump in a specific way. So I would say he could definitely be a really good nuker in the light or in the dark Colossus as well. But other than that, he's mainly just an arena monster. Now the light one here, moving on to him, he is definitely. Oh, as far as building, I forgot to mention for the wood one, you definitely want to have him on a ruin set with triple attack with high crit rate substats. If you don't have a leader's variant of him, you can use him with somebody like the Dark Sea Star, who has the critical hit bonus increase leader skill. So, you could have an extra 20% chance to crit on a ruin set, triple attack. He's going to be probably one of the hardest hitting mons. I mean, after some damage testing, once I pull one, I expect him to be doing somewhere around like 19,000 per hit. And he does have a pretty decent animation as well, so nothing too bad there. So definitely, if you can't put him on a ruin on a triple attack, put him on a ruin on attack crit rate or attack crit damage crit rate. If you have decent crit rate and crit damage gems, do attack crit damage. If you're on a ruin set, that's definitely going to give you out the same amount of damage as you would doing a triple attack on a ruin. So just something to keep in mind. You can definitely have some fun building him up. You can always hit me up on Discord if you need specific help trying to figure out what best works out for you. But he is an attacker type, decent defense, really good attack stat. His HP is a little lackluster, but he's just going to be kind of like your glass cannon type Astromon. But really good. All right, so finally moving on to the light one here, and he is definitely a mon to watch out for. So he is another potential high damage dealing mon, I guess. And he's definitely interesting. He is a balance type, which is really good for Titans mons. He has 33,200 HP, 3,100 attack, 3,000 defense, and 2,500 recovery, almost 2,600. So for a light type, he's already at the base type or base damage or defense here at 3,000. That already sets him apart from the rest, mainly because his 3-star skill is Courageous Strike. And because he's a Titan monster, he's going to be doing a really, really high amount of damage, and he's going to be able to soak up a lot of that damage that he's going to take, particularly if you bring him into the Dark Titan or the Light Titan. So, like I said, 3,000 is your base defense that you want to have on your Titans mons, and he's already there, so that's already something really good for those of you guys who get really lucky and pull this guy. Definitely one of the monsters I like to pull. He's kind of like the next Indra. But for the Light Titan, or the Dark Titan, I mean. So his 5-star skill is attack up, increases allies' attack power for 2 turns, and essentially they could have used something else on there, but attack up is really good, especially if you don't have somebody like the Dark Venus. And they made him particularly for this reason because now essentially what you can do is you can run a Hana next to him, which will do the defense down, and she'll give you defense up, and then you can use him to give you your attack up. And then that means your other two slots could be reserved for somebody like the Water Bast, which will give you your weekend as well as your defense up. And you can use somebody else in there to heal with a shield, such as the Light Venus, or maybe like, let's say, I would say the Light Hana, but she's not that great. I would say probably somebody like the Wood Cherry, who gives you like an attack power leader skill as well as a shield, and she also recovers 20% HP every turn. So I would see maybe like him on a back lane with like the Wood Cherry as leader, him, and then followed by the Wood Hana and the Water Bast on the back row. That could be some pretty good damage for your light or for your Dark Titan. So, definitely a really good monster to build. And he is going to be one of the probably higher damage dealers along next to Siegfried. I'm going to say he's going to fall right alongside of Siegfried. But, Siegfried is a double courageous striker, so that could be a thing for him. But again, his stats, he is really solid. Let's take a look at the light Siegfried here really quick. I forget what he's got for his defense. Yeah, look at that. Even as a 5-star, he's only got 2,700 defense, 3,000 attack. So comparable, if you look at that defense stat, your Siegfried's going to die a lot sooner than your Gilgamesh will. So definitely a really good Titan monster here. And I actually like the way that they built him. I don't like his stance. I like his Evo 2 stance a lot better. I mean, he just looks way cooler, even with the axe just thrown over his shoulder like that, like way better than him just holding it like this. Um, and somehow he lost an eye. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but he lost an eye. But his model is okay. The light one variant, definitely a good one. You don't need a light one to be variant though, because I don't believe that leader skill can be used in Titans. I've noticed there's a lot of leader skills that you just can't use in Titans, even if they say, oh yeah, you can use it. Like resistance down, for example, that doesn't work in Titans. So just something to note. But all in all, he is a really good Titan monster. Probably top tier right there. If you manage to pull one, let me know. Send me screenshots. I am so jelly of you. And I know one of you guys is going to pull him because I saw somebody pull the Light Enkidu like literally 5 minutes after the update was up last time. And I was like, what? How'd you do that? Light and Dark Egg, 3-star. You know, some of you guys will pull him. So definitely a really good light monster. The way I'd build him is probably HP attack crit rate or attack crit rate if you can't do a ruin set with triple attack. Ruin with HP attack is more feasible. It's a little bit more of a tankier build for him, and he'll do really well in the above 100 Titans. So I would say his best set is going to be HP attack with really high crit rate substats. And again, if you put him with a, let's say somebody like a Wood Cherry, or hell, even the Dark Cherry, she'll give you some extra 35% attack on the back lane there. So he'll do really good damage. And that's about it for him. So the light one and the water one are mainly just Titans mons, essentially what you're going to be looking at. And the dark one here, he is going to be a powerhouse in the attacker builds for a lot of you guys if you pull him. So his variant is actually really ugly. I don't like his black hair or purple hair there. He just looks way too purple for me. But he is a really good monster, just by the combination of his skills. The dark one is, of course, an attacker type with 29,000 HP, 3,900 attack, 2,600, 2,700 defense or so, and then recovery doesn't matter for him because he's a dark attacker. You're going to want to build him on a triple attack on a ruin set. If you can't do triple attack on a ruin, you want to put him on a attack crit rate on a ruin set. And that's going to be his optimal setup, mainly because he'll do really high damage from the crit damage from the ruin. As far as substats go, if you guys can get some crit damage substats in there, do that. Get yourself some resist and some crit damage substats, along with a high crit rate substat as well. The best gems for him is going to be something that has like 24 to 27% crit chance, and then like a 7 or 8% chance to crit damage plus like a 7 or 8% chance to resist. HP is not going to matter too much. He's going to be just a pure damage dealer. On the active skill weeks for Arena, he is going to be really squishy. But on the non-active skill weekends, he's going to be really good. You know, because depending on whether or not they have a light Yuki, you're basically dead on the first turn. But he is a really good nuker, a really good monster to bring basically everywhere. And he's got Battle Rush, which is that's on his 3-star skill. Attacks restore 20% of own HP and SP. And again, that's the main reason why I said just build him full on attack, because he'll be able to heal himself and give himself SP every turn. And that will lead into this brand new shiny Puncture. So 5-star skill is Puncture, which is the same as Draka's. His is a little weaker, where it only applies itself buff that ignores 90% of the enemy's base defense. So it's not like Draka's, where it just completely ignores the enemy's defense, but he is a really good monster to bring into Colossus. You can bring him into Arena, into pretty much everywhere. But Puncture, for a dark attacker, it's going to do some serious damage if you build them on triple attack on a Ruin. So just keep that in mind. Again, feel free to hit me up on Discord if you guys need help gemming your Gilgamesh. I'm always available for some guidance or for some help, or at least get you to where you want to use him. Of course, everybody's going to have a nose and have their own opinion as to how you're going to build them. If you have a really good build for him and you've tested it out and you've used it, leave it down in the comment section below. I'm sure somebody else out there will appreciate the help that you're providing them, as well as helping out the community, with your test rates or your knowledge base. So the more of us that get to do a little bit more of these reviews, the better that we can get at, gemming these monsters. But that's pretty much it for the Gilgameshes. The way that I would rate them as far as utility goes is going to be I'm kind of, I don't want to say biased, but I honestly think that the water one is the best one. Mainly because you can use him in the light and the dark titans as well, because he comes in with weekend and courageous strike. So the way that I'm going to put them in a tier is going to be the water one is going to be the best one, followed by the light one, then of course the dark one, and then the wood one, and then of course last but not least the fire one. So I would say that they're all really, really good. I'm definitely looking forward to getting one or two of them. I definitely think that they're a really good monster. They did a pretty good job with the skill sets too. They didn't kind of leave him out. They're doing a little bit better as far as like making the new monsters very usable in a lot of the content area. So definitely props to 433 for at least hearing out a lot of the players' concerns, and trying to help out a lot of people. Personally, for me, the water one's gonna be the best one. Like I said, I've been playing this game for a year and 3 months now, and no water baths, so I definitely need like 2 or 3 of him. And I'm probably gonna build as many of him as I can, just because I'm gonna use him in the light and the dark titan as well. That weekend there is just if you pull 2 of him, then you no longer need the water Draka. And of course, you guys are probably aware, but the water Draka is coming back on the rebirths, along with the fire, the wood one, the light, and the dark one here in like a week, basically 5 days before the Clans Fest begins. But if you pull a water Gilgamesh, you probably don't even need to do the rebirth for the water one. So if you are doing the rebirths, just do your rebirths to try to get your Draka, because Draka is just completely overpowered. Look at that. 15% ally or 15% SP to himself and allies on the 3-star skill, and then puncture 100% for basically every single event. So Draka, full on story mode grinder, the best mod to pull from the rebirths as well. So definitely get yourself some fire trackers. But attacker type is really good. I would say mainly the fire one for arenas. The water one definitely all around Titans Mon. The light one all around Titans Mon. The dark one pretty much usable everywhere. Exceptional in arena and in CBC. It'd be interesting to see him being used in like the active week, especially on a defense. You probably could potentially get one-shotted if somebody out there has him and he's really well built, just because of puncture. If he's got like a stupid attack stat, like let's say 10,000 attack or 11,000 attack with like 85% chance to crit, he's going to be doing some serious damage. So just something to keep in mind, especially because the leader skill here. So for the dark one, you're going to want a variant one of him. So for all you whales out there, not somebody like me, small fish out here. So that's the way I would rate them. So it'd be water one, light one, dark one, wood one, fire one. But definitely a really, really good job in this monster from 433. And I'm happy that they actually added him to the Heroes Dungeon. As you guys know, I did my entry into the Heroes Dungeon last month and it was complete garbage. The Persephone here, unfortunately, she started out with basically the soul stones not being guaranteed and ended up getting like just gold and energy back, which was just stupid. And for them to introduce a dungeon like that, that basically gives you no reward. It's a waste of 30 energy that you're going to be doing every day. I'd say take your energy to golems. But that's pretty much it. So unfortunately, I actually ran through the first one here because I'm an idiot. But we're just going to go ahead and do the levels 2 and 3 since we're here. And just showing you guys here that this is what they added in the pools for the new Heroes Dungeon. You need 100 Soul Stones to summon one of that particular monster for the month. And that can be boosted. You can only run the dungeon basically 30 times, and you can only do the level 3 basically 3 times a day. So actively, you're only looking at around 90 soul stones, during the entire month that he's available. But what they did is they added a Syria package, which allows you to do an extra run a day, which means that you would get essentially 120 runs for the month, which should grant you at least the ability to summon one Gilgamesh. I'm not going to make you guys sit here and read the story like we did the last time that I ran the Heroes Dungeon. So I'm just going to go ahead and basically do auto. This team here is way too overpowered, but this is just kind of like my farm team. Essentially, I'd like to replace the water Harlequin here with the dark one. I have the dark one, I just don't have her variant. The leader skill for the variant one is critical hit damage bonus. As you guys know, all my Drakas are 100% chance to crit. Essentially, this one's in Siphon, this one's on Ruin, and this one is also on Ruin, so they do some pretty good damage for me farming. And yeah, look at that, just dead. I forgot to see the damage. Look at that. Look how much damage my Drakas are doing. It's just ridiculous. So again, another reason why I recommend you guys, especially new players, if you don't have a Fire Draka, I know it sucks to lose your Nat 5s, but just go ahead and do it because the Draka is going to help you out so much. So, all right, that's awesome. So we got 2 stones so far, and we're going to go ahead and run the third one now. And the third one, also Fire Wukong is out this month too. So if you don't have one, he's really good. He's a Titans monster. He has defense down and Courageous Strike. He's not the most reliable defense down though. You're gonna need him on the full skill book set basically. Gonna have to level him to level 6 for or 4 for the skill books. Another monster. Personally, I'm going for the wood one just because I want to get at least one of him to Evo 2 and test him out in the arenas. Now, I know I'm probably not going to get enough soul stones this time around, but maybe by the next time around, I've already pulled, 1 or 2 of him. Or if anything, if I manage to end up getting a few of him over the next couple of months, I'll probably save them so I can Evo 3 the water one. I am personally glad that I saved all of my gleams. I have enough to basically get 1 to Evo 3 if I pull 4 copies of him. And I intend to keep at least, enough gleams so I can Evo 3 at least the water one. And once I get the water one, I'll obviously do a showcase for him in the Titans. I'll probably do one for him in the light, dark one, as well as the Fire Titan, just so that you guys can see how much he does as far as damage goes. But definitely a really good monster. Anyways, guys, thoughts, concerns, questions, gem builds, or anything like that, just hit me up on Discord or leave me a message in the comment section down below. Consider leaving a like or subscribing to my channel if you're new. And of course, you will always be able to reach out to me. I respond back pretty quickly. But if you can't find me in those methods or means of communication, you can always find me on channel 1. I'm pretty much always on, so just hit me up if you guys have any questions there. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Gilgamesh is a really good monster to build. I hope some of you guys get really lucky and pull him. And I'll definitely let you guys know whenever I do come around to getting him as well. That's it for me, guys. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Take it easy.